This is the guy yesterday talking. This is the guy who was beefing with Saint Tontas, yeah. This is another CC that Saint Tontas went after, right? Pretty sure it is. The NTE community exposed me from analytical vibes. Let's see what's happening here.
I made a video yesterday talking about the effect skins can have on character designs and game development, and how gacha games can best monetize them. And the NTE community did not like my opinion. I've gotten myself into some hot water. Woo! It's fiery. First of all, relax. The title is slightly clickbait because I'm only referring to a comment section which strongly...
Oh, did he get one guide and he decided to make a video? To be fair, I was going to make a video from a one guy situation. Not in terms of like crash out one guy, but just funny. Because like sometimes it's funny. Yeah, would you guys be interested in a video of me going through Billy comments on my content? Because, boys, some of my Enfield videos have been getting 100,000 plus on Billy views. And, yeah. And let me just say... This is the Enfield Arknights community's views on me. This is the Wua CN community's views on me. I'll let you guess which one kind of seems to like me and which one seems to fucking hate me. I'm sure you'll be able to figure that out. But yeah, Wua CN community seems to hate my guts. But the AK community seems to fuck with me, man. So, you know, I'll take it.
Disagrees with me. It's not that big a deal. I'm just having fun. But there is a genuine discussion to be had here, folks. I love this. Let me bring you up to speed with the premise and their criticism before I dismantle it. The whole premise of the video is that NTE's monetization is so generous that if they want to compete financially with other gachas, they need to add supplementary items to sell you. Without a 50-50, NTE characters cost half as much as Hoyo characters. But the best way to sell you a skin, generally speaking, is through lowering how much effort you put into the base design, thus making the skin better by comparison. It's more effective.
It's not wrong from a business standpoint. It's not good from a consumer standpoint. But, you know, if you sell a subpar product and then you can upsell it to look better, you know, it works.
And easier to do that than to make a really good skin. This is especially common in MMOs. And I mentioned that NTE will eventually have to make a choice about how to effectively sell you skins.
Yeah, that seems, I don't know if it's a mistranslation. I keep seeing that. Like, there's part of me, I'm like, I don't know if they're referring to the uploader, but I've not seen anything from the uploader that says that. I don't know, but yeah, the barbecue man comment seems to come up a lot. And it's wild. The people in the comment section over there are way more excited to see the next parts of my Enfield playthrough than anybody on my YouTube channel. Like, the amount of comments are there that are like, oh, hurry up and upload the next part. Can't wait to see what this foreigner's got to say and stuff. It's just like, they seem to genuinely be enjoying the content as well.
Suggested they could intentionally make base character models slightly more simplistic to better sell you skins, and people responded, that doesn't make any sense. If the character design is worse, then people are less likely to get a character. Why would they sacrifice?
It's a fine balance and act right. He's not wrong, and neither are those people wrong right. Like, if you want to have a skin selling economy, it makes sense to have a character not look too great initially so that it makes sense to buy skins. It's a little bit easier. There's also the argument you can make, well, you can make the character look great, but just have amazing skins. True, both can kind of work. But if you go too far on making the character look basic bitch, that is correct as well. People won't want to fucking pull on the character. So you've got a bit of a split right. If you go too far with how the characters look in terms of being crap, people don't want the character and then they're never going to buy the skin. But like, there is an argument to be made that making a slightly subpar base level character can kind of encourage people to buy skins. I'd argue though, people tend to purchase skins and cosmetics in games they're just really passionate about and they play a lot of time with. Apart from whales who've just got loads of money to just piss up the wall, most of the time, this is how I think anyway, and what I've seen from other people, you usually support games through cosmetics, not just out of pure altruism of, well, let me support the devs, but like, you like the game so much, you like to be able to switch up your character's visuals, whether it's a first-person shooter like Valorant, I want different skins on my weapon because I play the game so much, it's nice to change stuff and have my weapon inspect animations and all that sort of stuff, right? So I'd argue, if you can just make a really interesting game, you'll do well on cosmetics, but we know it's the gacha space. Shortcuts are the way to make money, and it does kind of work, right?
sacrifice a potential $200
Record a video,
for
we're working with the
in
grill.
order to better sell a $15 skin.
Should get
On the
fucking
surface, this
barbecue
response
behind
seems
me, yeah.
reasonable, and you'll see many people in the comment section of that video share this same sentiment. Has my argument fallen apart? No. Here's why. It's all about probability and mathematics. Oh boy. How good does a character design have to be for you to get that character? How bad does a design have to be for you not to get a character, even if you like everything else about them? You might not be thinking about this, but a PhD psychologist at every gacha game company definitely is. Are there any characters on your account now?
I've said this before, right? These games use psychology tricks all the time. They spend a lot of money on research and development to implement multiple facets of the game, from UI looks to the flashes of animations to even the sounds, to encourage you to continually form habits within these games, right?
Game you play that you got despite not liking their character that much because they were integral to your ability to play your favorite character? The answer is obviously yes. It doesn't mean you hate the design, but you have plenty of characters you wish for whose design you only marginally like, but you got because they fulfilled some other role for you and their design was...
It's, as I said, it goes back to that balance, right? Again, not just on the quality of design, but how valuable to meta, how likable is the character, how interested in the story is the character, how interested in the game are you, how beautiful is the design, how does it synergize with other units, again, going back to the meta side of things as well. You weigh up all these benefits, I think, when it comes to characters, right? Sometimes an insanely strong design can overturn everything and you just go, don't give a fuck, I'm pulling that character, you know what I mean? So,
good enough.
Design is
you're
important.
Gonna get tired of hearing this phrase good enough in this video because that is literally their job. Perhaps you summoned for a few characters solely for their good design, but for the most part, you get a character for a mix of reasons, not only their design, either because you like their story, their personality, their gameplay, their meta value, their utility, their team building value, and more. You take all of this into consideration.
Pretty much same wavelength here. I agree with what he's saying here.
When deciding to summon for a character, it would be silly not to. You're an intelligent person. You obviously do this. Their design is okay, decent, but you're using them.
I see waifu sometimes and monkey brain goes brrr, and intelligence is out the window. It's like, I need that character. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. That happened to me with Ablana in Arc Knights. I ain't fucking used her. And it's not to say that she's a bad uni. I've never used her, but it's just like, yep, get in.
For another greater reason. You wouldn't walk around the open world with them, but you have them. Maybe they're a really strong healer, a really strong buffer. They make another character you actually like much better, or you need them for elemental reactions.
Yep.
This is a very common practice for chibi characters. There'll be a universal buffer that you want because they make your actual favorite character stronger. If you could, you'd
True. Sometimes it could be a raw damage thing, right? Or a raw buff. Or sometimes it could just be, because like, it sucks, doesn't it, sometimes when you have a character. It's why rotation combat can be a bitch sometimes, where you have that really amazing design character that's actually really good, but the on-field time is so small. It's so small because their job is so efficiently done. They get on field, they do the shit, and they fuck off, and it's amazing. But at the same time, you're like, I never get to appreciate the character. That sucks. That does for me sometimes. It's a shame, but it's because they're incredibly meta, right?
Prefer if their design was different. Maybe you wouldn't necessarily spend money to change it, but it's not your favorite design in the game. In the original video, I never said NTE will make bad designs to better sell you skins. I specifically said they could make potentially slightly more simplistic, bland designs. Emphasis on slightly.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if they necessarily intentionally make them bland, but I think potentially certain designs of characters might start off as this is what the character looks like, and they have the iteration of the design process. They've got 5 designs, and they look and they go, that's the best one. Let's sell that as a skin. Do you know what I mean? Because that way we double sell then. We sell the character on pools and we sell the skin. I do think that's probably something that will happen. I don't know if they'd necessarily nerf the designs, although that could be a way to do it as well. But usually when a character's designed, it's not in a vacuum, right? That's the only design that ever happened. You'll usually have a bunch of them, right? And, it makes sense that you look at it and go, that will sell. That'll sell as well. So we put that in and then slap that on top and then we sell it twice, right?
This is
in a sense.
because you're not going to think the slightly worse design is bad at all. You're not even going to know. maybe because it's the second best choice, which is more than good enough to not affect sales.
Yeah, it's pretty much we're on the same wavelength here,
The
really.
slightest, for reasons I will show in this video, and then they hit you with the great looking paid skins for the double dip. I will show very shortly with a few examples that allegedly slightly worse
This
character
isn't
designs
pre-watch,
do
by
not
the way.
always affect revenue as severely as the comment section was suggesting. It can have an effect, but sales are way more heavily influenced by a combination of the region the characters being
I think
sold.
what'll come in, like where people like that, they'll think that, wait, are you saying this company's going to intentionally try to get extra money out of me? That could never be a thing because people get emotional attachments. Of course they're going to. Not saying they'll do that very thing that you're maybe making out to be the extreme, but like, let's not pretend these companies aren't doing everything they can to get you to separate from your cash, to get you to fucking swipe. Otherwise, they won't be making fucking gacha games.
Their meta value, their utility, and the overall popularity from the story. For example, the design of a character means almost nothing in China. Zilch, nada. Meta trumps everything. For example, the Hotta from Honkai Star Rail, a godly figure canonically, who is a super popular character in the West, completely flopped in China because Chinese players preferred getting Castrus in a few months, which was the anniversary unit whom they expected to be broken. On design alone, the Hotta is significantly better than Castrus. It's not even...
See, that there, though, that's a subjective take, all right. You know, most people might agree, but that is a subjective take, though. I'd probably say, I like both of them. I honestly like both of them for different reasons. Maybe she's a little bit better. But yeah, again, it's hard to say, is it? Well, I think when it comes down to design, it's the same argument across all games. There might be objective things sometimes you can say, that is better. But like, then you'll just, it's personal take, right? Somebody might like the more witch aesthetic. Somebody might like the color palette. Somebody might just like the butterfly stuff. It's a bit more subjective, right? Same face syndrome, yeah.
Close. Ask any HSR player. Castrus probably has one of the worst designs in the game. It's cluttered, the asymmetry looks weird, and thematically, that is not what the God of Death looks like. There's just too much going on in her design.
I quite like her design, actually.
This is not my opinion. Lots of people will tell you Castrus' design is just kind of a cluttered mess. Doesn't matter, she's broken. You might say she sold well because it was the anniversary, but it was really because she was meta. Every meta...
I think it was down to like, she was the first global passive unit as well, wasn't she?
The unit does record sales in China, regardless of it being the anniversary or not. All the anniversary could do was potentially help in breaking all-time sales record, but she would have done really well on a non-anniversary patch too, because of her strength. There are other reasons to like Castrus besides her design if you're not a Chinese player. Castrus has some of the greatest animations in the game. She's one of the few units that has a double animation ultimate. She was the first character in the game with a global passive, which prevented anyone on your team from dying one time in any fight, whether she was on the team or not. As long as she was on your account, you would get a permanent buff across all activities. That's nuts. She was
Have we had any more global passes
DPS
since?
Seal, who was the debut unit in version 1. Even if you don't like Castrus, if you want to fight quantum units, she's the one. I don't even like her design that much, but her animations, strength, personality, and gameplay won me over. This is me speaking personally, but there are an infinite number of reasons you can come up with for getting a character and liking everything about them except their design. Or maybe you only like their design a little.
The new Silver Wolf has one. Okay. What's the... She blocks one debuff. Okay.
Or it's good enough. Japan,
like, same thing, even if she's just on your account, like.
Hand really cares about designs. Japanese inspired characters like Chisa from Wuthering Waves do really well, but it still isn't everything. Sometimes a character just being voiced by a popular Japanese voice actor allows them to do really well in Japan regardless of their design. I believe the quality of the design plays a smaller role than the comment section suggested. If a character design is slightly worse intentionally, like I was suggesting, that doesn't mean by definition it will affect sales. How can you possibly disregard every other reason to like a character? It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, you don't hate their
My boy. My boy.
design, but if you like it enough, you'll summon them because they fulfill some role for you. I never suggested for a second that the design would be bad or that you wouldn't like the slightly worse design either. Here's the situation. NTE can have two designs in front of them, one better than the other.
Bro, zooming into the wrong spot, man. He's zooming into the text over here. Bro needs to be zooming elsewhere, man.
They make the slightly worse one the base design, and the other one can become a skin in two ways. Either a $15 skin, if you're lucky, or a slightly more predatory $100 gacha skin banner where you roll for the 5-star skin, which they have in Tower Fantasy. NTE will get that banner. The only thing peak character design is crucial for is first impressions. It can build immediate hype, sure, but until you see their gameplay and every other aspect about them, their design only plays an introductory role.
It's like a normal person's take, right? Like most things, it's multifaceted. Of course, it's always going to be independent and individualized in the sense that the design might be a bit more important to you in this particular case. Like, I think we've all probably been there where, you know, maybe more often than not, meta's a bit more important for you. But then there's a character that comes out, the design speaks to you so much that it's like, yo, the design is the most important thing for me here. It's like, it's spectrum for everybody, and it's a spectrum for all of us as well, in the sense that we all have a different changing of opinion as new characters come out. And everybody's got a different viewpoint as well, whether that's a bit more of a cultural or region-based thing or just an individual thing, right? I think in the West, we are a lot more aesthetically attracted to units. Not that the other regions don't have that aesthetic attraction, but as he said, meta's a little bit more defining, because that, especially some of these regions, I've been playing gacha games for a long time as well, and understand that I need something to advance my account, something that's going to benefit me beyond the instant gratification of, wow, woo, boobs, ass, this character looks good. You know, they're thinking a couple of months down the line, end game and stuff. And obviously, Western players feel like that as well. But I think it's, and vice versa. I'm sure people in other regions have their moments where they're like, I do not care how meta this unit is. I need this unit. It's, you know, it's multifaceted for everybody, and it changes all the time, doesn't it?
Characters whose design doesn't mean anything to you when you first saw them, but after playing the story or seeing their gameplay or seeing their animations, you grew to like them. Or the reverse, characters whose design you saw and you liked them, but once you saw them play, you didn't like them anymore. Here's some additional rapid fire of bad designs. Chaos and Alpha Art from NTE have objectively simplistic,
it's like,
design.
I think a perfect example for me is Wang Fangyi. From a waist up, she's a gorgeous looking character. I think all the characters in Enfield are pretty gorgeous, really. But in terms of design, she's not my favourite, but she was an insta get for me because she looked good enough, but she was a fucking Electro character, and I've been waiting for an Electro character. She's fucking good as well, and she's got some fucking dope fucking animations as well. But at the same time, there's part of me that's not big into floaty characters. I think they did it just right in Zhuang for me. She doesn't feel too floaty, she feels impactful. Where somebody like Rossi, I'm more into her animations, and her design I think is awesome as well. Then, you know, you got little things like, I love the dodge with Zhuang Fangyi in her ult and out of her ult when you're walking around the overworld. And then I hate fucking the lack of it with Rossi. Again, there's lots of these things. That's one of the things I was majorly disappointed with Rossi. It's a small thing, right? Everything about Rossi, brilliant. Love it. Powerful character, great kit, really variety use. You can use her across multiple teams. She's got a great design. Her animations look cool. And she's got a trash ass fucking 4-star dodge dash animation that pisses me off.
Now, Alpha and Case aren't ugly, but they look marginally better than an NPC. If you put Alpha next to an NTE NPC, you can only tell the difference because of their backside. And Chaos literally looks like every humanoid enemy in the game. I can already envision in my head a super cool Chaos skin. Maybe they make it more edgy or something that makes you go, wow. People are saying
I must admit,
the designs worse.
I think his design for me does look like a lower rarity unit. Like, it's got a kind of cool design, but I think I do agree with the, you know, the face covering it. It does kind of make him look a little bit NPC like a more focused NPC in the game. But I've had people in my chat saying, oh, I can't wait to get him. Dude looks sick.
But his design is bad. So in what universe am I wrong? Look at him. He looks like the standard enemy design. What are we talking about? The MC design herself looks mid and uninspired. And without a doubt, this is intentional. Literally, the MC doesn't look any different than any of the NPCs.
This isn't for skins, though, I don't think. And I think a lot of gacha games suffer from this. Now, you could argue with the skins here, because the skins, and they do make it look a little bit better. But even if you look at the skins, they're a bit more neutered than the other skins. And that's because when it comes to gacha games, you want the MC to be just enough to add a little bit of utility across multiple teams, right? Just to tie things together early on. The main character, the MC, tends to usually have a neuter design because they want to sell you everybody else, right? You know, it's Rover, look at Ananta, look at this. And I know that's not going to have gacha, but you know what I mean? It's standard affair for the main character to kind of be the most baseline character out of all of them, because, you know, they're not selling in that character. Typically, your upgrades for that character all come through the story, whereas everybody else, they're the main stars of the show, aren't they? So, that, you know, it's like the bridesmaid upstanding the bride, right?
Are you going to tell me they didn't make the MC's design slightly worse in order to more effectively sell you her skins?
I'd argue, for me, it's the former, what I just said. Now, I'm not saying that isn't taken into account, but yeah, I think this is a thing that all gacha games suffer from because they want to sell your other characters. You know, if your MC looks too good and they're really good, why would you bother pulling on a new character other than meta? You know, I do think there's a little bit of it to that. Probably with the skins as well with this.
Playing the game, I realized that farming for
and
farms is actually more
yeah.
time consuming than...
I don't think the main character of NTE is terrible. She's got a poor face. She's just the generic gacha MC, right? You know, I'll still stand by it, man. Even in visuals and character, Belle stands clear, man. Belle's the GOAT.
I thought, straight up, it's better for me to make more YouTube videos and purchase the fawns than actually playing the game. I originally thought the skins were relatively free, but you're actually paying with an immense amount of time. There are countless examples of characters who have objectively
Hangman and female Rover beg to
differ.
differ. I don't know, man. You look at the designs of both of those characters, though. Neutered characters. You might like E, and I like female Enmin. I do. I like female Rover as well. But look at their colour palette. Look at the way they're designed. They're designed in a way to kind of fade into the background against all the other characters, really. It's a thing that's done on purpose, right?
Well, anyway, does anyone actually like Triby's design in HSR? It's asymmetrical and ugly. Plus, she's a chibi. Doesn't matter. She's the best universal buffer in the game. Her design is
it's the stuff when Enmin's like this.
But to make her sell well, they jacked up her numbers because design is
everything. Don't get me wrong.
They also gave her a really good E1 so that anyone who really wants to go for that meta will get the E1, completely circumventing all of the people who won't wish for her because they don't like her design. Now, I'm not suggesting HSR intentionally made Triby's design worse.
Look, again, see what I mean? It's more around the color palettes. They're usually just atypical. If you look at look at female Rover, look at Enmin, look at the Trailblazers, look at NTE's character, and then put them all next to each other. There's a lot of similarities, right? Down to the hairstyles, the characters' dress, the clothes, and the color palettes. They're all kind of the same, right? Also, Dante's different, right? But also Dante's not a character that you're actively using in game, right? It's like the Doctor as well, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think if you're playing a game where you're like the off-field unit, doesn't really matter then. You can go buck wild with the design, can't you?
Claiming NTE developers can do. But the situation and the business model are completely different. For one, HSR has an insane release schedule where they release a double 5-star every patch since launch. They've only had 4 patches in 3 years where a 5-star debuted alone. With such a tight schedule, their mindset is good enough. But they don't want to make it bad because they can't make any money on the back end. All of their money's from that initial hype and purchase. Many other gacha games work this way too. NTE does not have the same model. If an NTE developer says good enough, it's not the same, even if they have the same schedule, because they're selling skins. Straight up, here's why. If a Hoyo developer makes 2 equally good designs for a character, they will pick the best one given the time they have and run with it. You can be certain of that because they can never make up that money if they pick the slightly worse of the 2. If you give
fair, I mean that's fair.
This exact same scenario to an NTE developer, they have the incentive to pick the slightly worse one and sell the other to you.
I think that's also fair as well. I do. It's exactly what I said. If you've got a line of characters in front of you, why not sell the second or third best looking one as the character and then straight up blast that fucking best looking skin after the fact, right? I think that's definitely a fair assumption to make, yeah.
As a skin, if you're lucky, the skin will cost $15, but it can really cost however much they want, depending on how much they want to price it in order to make more money on the back. And part of the reason the skin will make a lot of money is because it is better. Meta is not the only way to make a character more desirable if they have an okay design. You can make them more relevant in the story, or you can make them have insanely cool animations. Just because a design is marginally worse, like I suggested they could do in the video, that doesn't mean necessarily people won't wish for the character, and at least in ways they can't make up. Honestly, this all seems like elementary stuff. Doesn't everyone know there are more aspects to a character than their design? As long as it's not bad, they can do whatever they want.
I think sometimes what it is with people in the gacha space, I think deep down a lot of people do understand these arguments, right? Like what he's saying here, I agree with a lot of what he's saying here, right? You know, it seems elementary. I don't think it's that a lot of the time people don't understand it. I think it's either people refuse to understand it and will argue against it, or but it's usually, either way, it comes down to them trying to argue for, well, this is the game I like, and we've been groomed by the gacha community and CCs to believe that if the game is maybe a little bit more predatory than the other one, it's just a worse game. which is a silly idea, right? Now, we can have conversations about gacha systems and be like, well, this game is more generous than the other one. But at the end of the day, if you enjoy a gacha game, right, just play the gacha game, because we've got too much of this conversation in the space now where people feel like, well, I have to play the most generous game, right? The one with the better gacha system, the one that gives me the most pulls, because that's the only way to have fun. Where, like, this was one of the arguments I was having with Enfield, even though Enfield isn't ungenerous, as some people would say, but it's like, you have to play the game to get the stuff. Some people just don't want to do that, right? So, like, the arguments come down to that. So in their head, their idea is, so are you saying to me, they want to get more money out of me than this other game? Is that what you're saying? And then they go into defense mode and they try and justify why that can't be true. You know, when they probably understand that these are elementary arguments of business, right? If you're going to upsell something, it makes sense to make the upsell look a better deal than the base package, right? It's like, it's the same with anything. If you're selling a TV and an internet provided service, right? You have the base package. Of course, you could give all the channels and all the internet speed. Of course you could. But of course, you sell the base package and then you have additional add-ons, right, that make it look better, and that they are better, right? And I think this is a valid argument that, of course, skins need to look better than the baseline, and we can't pretend on a game that just launched with skins already out, those skins weren't designed in parallel with the base character, right? And they looked and was like, which is the best one? Okay, that's more than likely going to be a skin. I don't think they went for the worst one, because that'd be silly, because you wouldn't sell the character then, right? Because even though there's no 50-50, you still need to encourage people to spend on gacha, but you go somewhere in the middle, maybe the second, third, fourth best one. Okay, that's the base character. And okay, now we got skins. And obviously, as well, there's probably a little bit of design thought took into with the base character connecting with the universe, because obviously Mint, or whoever it was just in that character where she's got the furry arms on, doesn't really fit with the character in what we're doing. So it doesn't make sense to have that skin as well. That it's not just as simple of, well, this one can be sold as a skin, so let's choose the other one. Sometimes it probably is, okay, this character's got a pumpkin on the head. Probably not the outfit we want to use for them when they're working in the Anomaly Bureau. You know what I mean?
The point is that unlike in non-skin focused gachas, NTE does have an incentive to make a character based on their second or third best design instead of their first. It's not worse enough to make—
Fuck this guy, man. I swear to God. Like, dude, I'm literally saying stuff and then dude is following up like this. I swear, I am not saying Tontas. This is not a pre-watched video, but he's making me look like a fucking liar right now. Holy shit, dude. Stop it, man. Get out my fucking head.
A loss in initial sales, but just enough to maximize skin
This
sales.
is crazy.
They have multiple avenues to get you to like a character besides their design anyway. Of course, just because they have the incentive doesn't mean they're going to do this, but they can. I'm just trying to answer a question. How long
Probably will. Makes sense, dude, right? You know.
are they going to accept making less money than others before making a change? Just recently, Wuthering Waves has started monetizing more through $25 bike skins, spending events, and endless collaborations because it's making less money.
Hoyle's fault. You can only blame Hoyle. It's Hoyle's fault. It's Hoyle's fault, right? Again, see what I mean? Goes back to that justification. Same sort of argument. It can't be that Kuro want to make more money. It's because Hoyo normalized it, even though Kuro did it before Hoyo. Do you know what I mean? Different argument, different set of conversation going on. But it goes back to the same thing of people justifying things that they probably know isn't necessarily right, or not right, that they're arguing against themselves in a sense, or they're arguing against their better judgment to prove that the company they like, oh, they wouldn't do that. That can't be the reason why, right? They're not trying to squeeze money out of me. Surely not. I like these guys.
Than its competitors, despite putting in
I've
more
been told by content creators to like these guys specifically because of that reason, because they're more generous. And I think that's where we get that community attitude I do in the West.
effort to the character animations. I promise you, NTE is brainstorming right now, and if you could be a fly on that wall, you wouldn't like what you heard. I'm completely correct about what these psychologists do. A great design can certainly get you in the door, but a good design works well enough for a majority of people. The amount of people you lose from going from great to good can be easily made up by other factors, like a character being completely broken.
Yeah, I've said this before, right? If you've got a character that doesn't have the best design, you can make it way more desirable if they're just cracked, right? They're just cracked. Or that character that's coming out, you're not interested, but you know the character you really love. shit, man, they're going to make my character broken. Boom. Don't matter then, does it?
Through power creep, and then they hit you with a 1-2 punch, a skin that's better than the base, solving the original small problem you had with them in the first place, making up the money on the back end. People keep saying I'm doom posting on NTE, coming up with conspiracy theories. What? In my first video, I talk about how NTE could have potential power creep because of Hotta Studio's history of insane power creep in Tower Fantasy. That's not doom posting. That's looking at someone's past actions to stay alert for the future. If someone punches you in the face,
everything's doom posting now, right? Like, that's a problem. Having critical thoughts of a game now is considered doom posting because you've got content creators who genuinely doom post and have communities that argue, well, they're just being critical. They're just being honest. They're not a paid shill. They're not grifting. So then the smallest criticisms are seen as doom posting. It's easy to see the difference between genuine doom posting and genuine criticism, right? When you make 42 fucking videos in the space of a month and a half on a game saying that they're scammers, they're liars, it's the worst gacha ever, the worst 1.0 ever, and, you're commenting on there not being a capital T at the start of a sentence or whatever, that's doom posting. To be critical of a game, and not even necessarily be critical, to have worries isn't doom posting. But as I say, we're in such a weird space in the Western gacha space now, because of particular CCs have caused such a toxic partition in the space, right? It's either all for or all against, and it's a shame where we are, man.
and you say that person might punch you again, that's not doom posting, it's basic protection. People also say yesterday's video was doom posting. I think it's more about the effect skins have had on other games and the effect that they can have on NTE too. How about you and I make a deal? My next NTE video will be a completely positive one. Instead of a positive one at the start and a negative at the end, I will talk about all the good things in the game. I can easily become the best NTE YouTuber you've ever seen. I have yet to talk about the designs like I do with my other content. Neverness to lewdness. That's an idea. That won't be the next video, but it could be. Anyway, see you.
Bro, Hethereau's jiggle is insane. Insane. Yeah, this is a great video. I agree with pretty much everything he said in this video, down to the point where dude was echoing my sentiments exactly, pretty much. Go check out Analytical Voids. I'm going to drop him a sub as well. Yeah, man, I agreed with a lot of what he was saying in that.